So I thought I would do a little bit of an orchard update since it's been a while since I did one. This is my Red Delicious apple tree. Lots of growth this year. It finally put on its first flowers off of this little bud over here, but nothing came of them. They didn't have a lot of energy, I guess, so they just kind of fell off. But first try, so that's to be expected. I did purchase 5 different varieties of grafting scionwood to go on different trees. Mostly my grown from seed trees, which I was just like, I don't feel like waiting 10 years to find out whether or not I even got anything that's edible. So I just got some varieties and have grafted them. We're about 3 weeks out, so still a while to go before we can tell if they've taken. But I have one that I did a side graft here. It's actually, I opened it up the other day so that it could have its leaf go out here. I know my phone's terrible at focusing. And see if I can get it to focus. There we go. Yeah, so it's got a little bit of growth going out of it. Not much. I mean, I'm not hoping too much for this one because this variety is the same variety that's right here. I just had extra, so that's why I did a side graft there. And you see, this one's actually coming out pretty good right now. It's got a little heat damage from yesterday. It was really hot. It was almost got near 90. So, but looks pretty good so far. And then these up here are doing fairly well so far. It's getting bad at focusing, so I got one there. And I got one here. It's coming out. This one's interesting because it's got little flower buds for that variety, but I ain't gonna let them actually form any apples this year because graft wouldn't be able to support them. Not till next year, but it's good to know that it's fruiting wood already. So those seem like they've taken okay. And we'll see for sure in a couple weeks. Over here, this is my pink lady apple tree. It has 2 apples on it this year. Let's see if I can find this first one down here. And then the second one is up over in here. So I'm going to be putting some protective stuff on those. Since there's only 2, I'm not really going to worry about spraying the tree. Except perhaps when the beetles come out in a few weeks. Here's another graft that seems to be doing pretty good. It's not drying out. This one's doing really well over here. And if you're wondering what the tinfoil is for, the tinfoil is actually for reflecting sunlight and keeping the graft union itself cool. It has to stay cool, it has to stay protected from the elements so that the actual callus tissue can form between the top graft and the actual tree itself. So this one's doing pretty good. Like normal, I'll probably have to come through here and do some chopping later on in the summer just to do some summer pruning, and then I'll force fruit buds for next year on it and get it into the shape I like. A lot of these are going almost due upwards, so I'll have to cut them at an outward facing bud and make them go further out. Okay, moving on. This is an Arkansas Black. You see it's got a lot of growth, like on the order of, starts down here, almost 1.5 feet, 2 feet of growth on it this year already. It's really good. It's got a really good 60, 75 degree branch here that'll be good for fruiting. I'll cut them back for some more branches up here later this year. I need some more sideways branches, and this is where this graft will come in here. Focus on it. It got a little bit of damage yesterday from the heat, but not too much. It actually has, I didn't cut this one. It has another bud down here that has, see if I can get to focus. And focusing, maybe, come on. Focus. There you go. It has a bud that's broken through there as well. This one actually did have a fruit on it, and it had like a baby fruit, but it wasn't fully pollinated, so it died. And so that's that, and I'm guessing it's not very happy on that one anyway, because the leaves died on it, and I think that's, it just stopped getting nutrients, so that's what died. This is another one that I grew from seed, and it's been grafted, and it looks like it's doing pretty well so far. Here is my Golden Delicious apple, and it's doing really well. It's got some really good branching on it, especially this one and this one down here. This one here, I'm gonna have to put a little wood stake in between these two to kind of force a bit more separation between them. Oh, also I need to spray. I got some aphids up in here. Dang aphids. And ants like to put them up there. But otherwise, this is looking pretty good so far. Now this graft is one I'm concerned about. It had some growth out on the end here, but I think with it, when it was wrapped up, it didn't like it, and maybe it got too much direct sunlight since it was facing directly at the sun when it came up in the morning, so it kind of fell off. But I do have another bud back here. I took off the grafting tape from it, and it does seem to be growing, so maybe this one will still take. And then this one I was concerned about because it wasn't growing at all. But as soon as I took the tape off of it, we got a lot of growth starting on it, so that's good. Maybe it finally took. And this one is the one that's doing the best out of all of them. It's really good grass so far. I can pretty much guarantee that this one has really good cambium contact, and hopefully is taken all the way. But I'm not taking the grafting tape off or the actual aluminum foil off until about 6 weeks. And like I said, it's been 3, so it's got 3 more weeks to go, and then I'll take at least the aluminum foil off, maybe the grafting tape. And then of course, I have my experimental southern magnolia here that I'm actually making into an open center tree and trying to keep it within about 6 foot tall. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but I can't have it siphoning sunlight from my other trees, so making the best of a $200 mistake. Walk over here. This bunch of leaves and fun stuff here are purple grapes. And you can actually see that the grapes have started growing. So, which is pretty cool. Walk over here. This one not so vigorous of growth, but as the other one, not quite sure what happened. It was the first to go, and it looked like it was doing really good, and it's like, maybe not. But it also has grapes, and these are going to be green grapes. 2 different varieties, have them together, and they'll be okay, I guess. This is my successful pear tree from seed that's actually growing like a weed right now, surprisingly. But this one's been in the ground all winter. And in a second, I'll show you one that hasn't been in the ground all winter, and it's alive because it's still got green cambium wood underneath it, but it's not putting out anything. So I think its roots got destroyed by the 9 degrees when it was in a pot, unfortunately. And then, weirdly, I'm leaving these. It's kind of interesting. These guys here are what's left of some, I'm guessing these are probably crab apples that I had growing over here, but I threw them away last year. But one of them had actually sent a root down into the soil, and that broke off when I dumped them. And hey, that root is actually growing new shoots. So what the hey, leave it. Maybe it'll provide some some flowers and for my apples over there. And here's the sad story of the bunch, and that is this poor little guy here that I put in the ground probably way too late. It's, looks kind of sunk in on its skin. Not getting a lot of nutrients up here probably because its roots are it's probably all going into root growth right now. I'm just hoping it'll pop back up. If it doesn't pop up at all this year, I'll take it out and put something else in next year. And then lastly, on the apple pear variety, I have this poor little guy here. I actually had grafted onto this one, but it did not take. No callus tissue at all formed. It was rotting underneath it. It turned black, and white mold was forming on it. So I was just like, nah. I killed it off, and I'm just going to let it regrow because it had lots of vigorous growth on it before I tried grafting it. And when, mostly you want to have it where it's both are dormant at the same time. But I did this because it was late in the season. I was just like, what the heck? I'll just try grafting. So here I am. Now, my dad, when he sees this, is going to be like, what? This was a tiny little thing at the start of the spring. And it's put on about 4 feet of growth. This is a nectarine tree. And it's put on a lot of growth, a tremendous amount. And its cousin over here, another nectarine, is doing the exact same thing. Crazy good amounts of growth, which is good. I'm going to have to, summer prune it and get it back to an open center. But it's a lot of good first year wood that hopefully will produce nectarines next year. Over here, this is peach. I did summer prune this last year, and I cut off most of the fruit and wood. So I'm going to try to not summer prune it as much this year. I'm pretty sure it only has one peach down in there somewhere if you can see it. And so, but it still has this open center form. I'll cut out the stuff in the center and try to leave probably more upward facing shoot like this on this outer growth because I don't have a lot of space to grow outward anymore. So I'll try to make it an open center but with some spacing. And I try to have the shoots be at different levels a little bit so that when the center shoots here grow up, they'll grow out this way at a lower level so they won't block the sunlight from getting in to the center. And then this is the other peach. It's doing really, really nicely. It actually has a good amount of fruit here and down here. I'm not sure. This one here may have gotten hit by a plum curculio, whatever. But yeah, that happens. And then this is a peach here. It's put on a decent amount of growth this spring. And this peach actually came from this tree here. I got that peach off of that peach tree about mid-August after I got back from Daytona. So actually late August. Ate it, dried it out. And then by September, I was growing a baby peach tree, and there it is. So it's doing pretty good. This is another nectarine. It doesn't have as much growth as its brother and its cousins over there, I guess. Not from the same fruit. But, it kind of almost died last year when we had some hot weather, and it just... all the leaves went down on it and almost died. So it barely had any growth compared to those two, which were already in the ground. So it's doing fantastic. And then I have these two peaches right here that I just planted this spring, that I started growing late in the summer last year, early fall. And so, you know, they're new, but you can see it's got a lot of new growth that's starting to grow. So I think they're finally getting attached to the soil just in time too. And get away from me, wasp. And then I did forget this guy, hard to forget, but this is my Granny Smith apple tree that I just bought. I had to defoliate it so that it wouldn't die because it was a bare root tree, and it was supposed to be dormant, but it had already grown like a good 4 to 5 inches of top growth here. So I cut that off and picked off all the other little growth underneath it, and so that its roots could establish. And lo and behold, we're starting to get some good top growth here, a little bit of side growth on here. I'm gonna try to pick off this stuff here at the bottom. I don't really want that. It's too low. I want all the energy to go up into the top part of the tree. So this is where I want the first level of branches to be. So I don't want anything really growing out of this bottom part here. So yeah, that's my walk around, and of course this is my my red cherry tree. So it just grows pretty red flowers, and it's you know, it'll live for about 25-30 years. These are like can live over 100 years, all the apples and peaches and stuff like that. So yeah, it'd be good. But yeah, that's my update. I thought I'd give a little walkthrough. A little walkthrough being a quarter of an hour, a little over a quarter of an hour, but lots to talk about. So I hope you enjoyed this update, and I'll probably give another one later on, see how these grafts do and how those apples and peaches come along. All right, touch you later. Bye-bye.